Well, good morning. It's getting nippy here in the Northeast and our shop is kind of chilly to work in. So we pulled out the Mr. Buddy heaters and we've used them every year with great success. But this year, one of them's not working. So we're going to kind of troubleshoot it and I'll show you a real easy fix for them and we'll show you what seems to be a common problem. You don't need a lot of tools and it's real easy. So let's get to work on them.
Well, here's the heater, and before we start on it, or at least trying to figure out what's wrong, kind of been neglected for a while. It's really pretty dirty. So what we're going to do is kind of clean up the sawdust that accumulated on here with some Mary Kate. If you've never used Mary Kate before, try this on all of your plastics and nylons and rubbers, and it does a really great job making this stuff look like new. So we get it all cleaned up and it just makes it easier to work on without a whole lot of dust falling to the inside of this gadget here. This is my neglect, not taking care of it over the winter, over the summer I should say. And now we're going to get this thing looked at real carefully and figure out what we got to do. Let's see the igniter first. Well, we got this thing pretty cleaned up now, and I think it's time to take it apart. The first thing we're going to do is get off this grating so we can have a little closer access to the igniter and see what's going on there and be easier to clean it up. This comes down and just pulls out on the bottom. And Mr. Buddy says to start this thing, what we do is turn it to pilot, press down and hold it for 30 seconds or a minute. This allows it to purge any air that's in the lines. And then by turning it, it's hard to see with this lighting, but right here, there's an igniter and it is sparking. So we know that's not the problem. And you really can't even hear any gas coming out. As you can probably see here, it is sparking, but there's not much of a flame. When you have a candle type flame in here, it's not going to keep these ceramic plates lit. So let's get in there and clean this up the easy way first. We've got some Q-tips that we shaved down a little bit, get these tips a little bit thinner so they can fit into that orifice, and we're going to dip it into some alcohol. And this stick is a little bit too long, so we'll snap it off, and I'm going to get right down into the orifice there and go all the way in. That goes in quite a distance. We twirl it a few times and we're trying to clean out the opening for the pilot flame. There's some brown gunk in there, I'm not quite sure, so let's do it again. A little more alcohol. And back into the Q-tip into the opening. Twirl it around and get it cleaned out really well. Okay, that's about as clean as that's going to make it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to blow some air in there also. We're going to take some compressed air right into the pilot opening. Blow any dust away and give it a good spritz of air. Now let's try it again and see if it's working. Not much of a flame. Okay, we know now that this is pretty clean probably, but we're going to have to do a little bit more of a repair on this and a little bit more maintenance. Let's open it up in the back and I'll show you the pipe that generally gets clogged up that's responsible for not letting the gas go through here. Let's open up, take a look. We don't need a lot of tools to access the inside of this Phillips screwdriver, and there are 4 screws, one here, 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 and here. Let's take those off and we'll be able to access the inside and see exactly what's going on. Now, in order to access where the pilot light is and the other areas that we want to get to, we're going to remove these two screws and this plate should come out. Now you can take a look what's going on in here. This is the gas supply to the two ceramic plates, and there's our pilot right in there. And the interesting thing is this little thin line is what's responsible for delivering gas to our pilot light. But that's not where the problem usually is. It's in here. And we're going to take this thing out and show you where the line is. Couple more screws. We start with the handle up here. This is the screw we're looking for right here. You have to remove the back of this handle to access this screw. This is going to allow us to take off this side piece. Now we're going to the bottom. Now we're going to turn this upside down, and you'll notice right here two more screws. They're holding this bracket on that'll prevent us from taking off this side piece. So let's unscrew these two and get this side piece off. And with it comes that little bracket, and there's one more screw in there. We'll get that out and put those aside. Next, to get this off, we're going to remove the knob on here. And that's just simply a matter of gently lifting it, and it comes right off. Now let's see what we've got inside here. Okay, now we are where we want to be. Let's get a close-up.
Okay, this is the tube that we need to remove. We'll unscrew the top nut carefully. Don't bend them. These tubes are fragile. You kink them, and we've got a bigger problem. And there's a bottom nut. We'll take that off. And that's just a 14 millimeter wrench. And carefully jiggle the tube out of there. This is our troublemaker. This is the one that causes all the trouble. We're going to clean this out.
I'm going to get some compressed air and we'll get one end and see if anything comes out. That's quite a bit. Some kind of oily accumulation in there, but it definitely was clogged. And that, I believe, is the source of our problem once again with Mr. Buddy heaters. Now, in order to clean this real good, I'm going to squirt some acetone or alcohol through it and blow it out several times to get it real clean. Let's try that. Well, we've got a syringe here with some acetone, and we're going to squirt some of it in there. And what we're trying to do is rinse out or dry out this thing from the oil that was in there. It's coming out pretty clean now. We'll do it again. And since we got a little bit more left here, we'll just fill it up one more time. That looks pretty good now. Get this thing dried off. And we're ready to put it back on. But before we do, we're going to clean up the rest of this thing. While we have it open, we're going to blow out a couple more lines here. Just attach our compressed air there, and going back towards the regulator, what I also like to do is depress this little pin right here with the compressed air. Blow that out also. Get rid of all the dust. Let's reinstall this tubing back on here, and we'll start to put this together and see if we've been successful. This is going to go like this, and we'll get this all reattached. We'll get this one attached first. And get this one done. Tighten them up good. And tighten this one up. Okay, they're pretty good. Looks pretty clean. We cleaned the orifices in the front. Our trouble tube, this tube right here, always a troublemaker. Takes a second to take it off, blow it out, clean it out real good. Let's reassemble and see if this thing's going to work. We've cleaned this area out pretty good, and we're going to get this back plate on now. And I believe this will go like that. Okay. And one screw on the other side should complete that. Okay. Now let's get the back plate, get it on there, put some gas in it, see if it works. Okay, back is secure. All that's left here now, let's get the knob back on. Now it's secure. Okay, let's get some gas in here. See if it's going to work. We're going to use the 1 pound bottle, the disposable ones, just to try it out. and get them all in nice and tight. Okay, now as per the directions, we're going to turn it to pilot, hold it down, let the air purge from the line, hopefully. And it says 30 seconds to a minute. Let's see. And we have a pilot light right there. Now we're going to let that run for half a minute or so to warm up that thermocouple, and we'll see if these gratings will light now. Okay, we've turned it on low. It's hard to see in this light, but I can feel the heat. Yep, they are lighting. Okay. We're going to have heat in the shop. Let's turn it to medium. Oh yeah. Pilot light is staying lit right there. Very important. That line was clogged. It's unclogged, and it's working really, really well. Let's turn it all the way up to high. And although I know you can't see it with this light, you have to take my word for it, both ceramic grates are starting to heat up. So it was successful, and that was the problem. Nice and clean. Hopefully we'll get a whole season's service out of it. And let's put the grating on before someone burns themselves, and we'll be right back. Okay, we've got it running, and it's running really well. I guess a lot of this is my fault, not maintaining it properly, but this particular heater is used in a woodworking shop, and an awful lot of sawdust and everything gets into things and clogs things up. But the tube that we took off that was clogged with that oily substance, the little that I know about it so far, it seems to come from the non-standard Mr. Buddy hoses. The cheap hoses, the ones you buy from Harbor Freight or something, give off something that accumulates into those tubes. The other reason is the barbecue tanks, the propane has stuff in there. That's why Mr. Buddy recommends very strongly that you put these filters on, and that'll keep a lot of the gunk from getting in there. They also suggest you replace them about once a year. And we'll find out this year how it works. Well, I hope you liked the video. I hope it helps you with your Mr. Buddy. If you did like it, please subscribe, give us a big thumbs up. We can bring more videos to you. And if you click on the bell, you'll find out when the next one is coming. We're getting ready for winter, and where we are, we get a lot of power outages. And one of the things that you're gonna find next week on our channel will be converting a gasoline-powered generator to run on propane. It's pretty interesting. We should have it out by next week. Thanks for watching. See you soon.